Hi everyone, I'm the plant propagator and welcome to my channel. Today it's a really nice early May morning in Southwest Florida. It is 75 degrees Fahrenheit, which is 24 degrees Celsius. It's gonna get a little warmer today. It's pretty early in the morning, so the orchids are loving it. They're putting on some amazing growth. So I've got a lot of the orchids around me that are putting out new pseudobulbs that are growing really quickly. A lot of flowers are showing up, so I got a lot of plants in bud. But today what I want to do is focus on Encyclia tampensis. And if you know my background, you know that I'm growing a lot of these plants for reintroduction into some of the local parks. And what happened is Hurricane Ian did a lot of damage to the plants that I already introduced. I had a lot of plants that were ready to go out right before Ian struck, and after Ian struck, there was so much damage that I couldn't put any out. So what I had to do is keep them here, mount them on boards, do whatever I could in order to keep them growing. But because the park and the properties, they were not really ready to accept them. So what I did is, and I gave a lot away to friends and colleagues and things like that, rather than just to try to hold on to them here. So I've got a lot of plants at various stages, and I'm excited because this time of year the tampensis are spiking. So they're putting out and they're getting ready to bloom. I've been getting a lot of texts and emails from my colleagues that I provided some tampensis plants to, and those people they're all excited, like me, that many of their tampensis are in spike. Now these are plants, the first batch of plants that I have that I'm going to share some of with you today, were planted from seed, were flasked not quite 4 years ago, maybe 3.5 years ago. And these plants are getting larger. Tampensis here grow exceptionally well. They're native orchids. And everyone is sending me, again, images of their plants in spike and coming along. And I've got some people that I gave multiple plants to that their plants are doing better than mine. That the plants are just growing really well, and they're as excited as I am about that. These are, and again, because these are new from seed, they're new probably selfs. These are native capsules that were obtained from the different plants. So I'm just excited for myself and for everyone else. But what I wanted to do today is share with you, unfortunately none of the flowers on my plants are open, but I wanted to share with you what these things look like and how many of them I have. So, you know, I grow them from seed. They're very efficiently grown. I have thousands of them in the laboratory, and probably hundreds of them in pots that could be mounted. I actually went over a friend's house and we mounted, I think, around 8 to 10 of them in his oak tree, and that was really a lot of fun, and I think they'll do well. And again, one of his plants was in spike. He had the big plants, and he had the seedlings. The seedlings, let me show you those first. So the seedlings that I have look like this, and this is some of the these are some of the tampensis seedlings that I have, and I've got, like I said, I've got quite a few of these, and these are growing well. These are small plants. These are the size plants that I like mounting in trees. I don't really like putting the big ones in, but they'll do fine too. So but these are the ones that I really like mounting because they're young, and I think it's a lot easier for these guys to establish. I've got a lot of these. I've got some here. I've got some, you know, behind the shed behind me, and I've got a lot of these. So these are the smaller ones that I have from the second batch. I would guess that these things were put, they were flasked, I think probably maybe about a year ago. you know, well, not even that. They were from, well, maybe it is. It's about a year ago that these were flasked. So these plants are doing really well. What I have a lot of oh, and then I should also share with you of this batch. I had a video a while ago about trying to mount deflasking directly onto boards, onto cedar boards, and for the most part that didn't work. That was a real failure. But I did have some, this one's doing really well, I did have some that successfully, where I deflasked directly onto the cedar boards. And I don't know if you can take a look at the roots that are growing right here. Yeah, they're on that side. The roots that are growing right here onto the cedar boards. So this seems to have worked. Now, most of these didn't. I don't recommend directly deflasking onto cedar boards, but I did have some plants that survived. I won't do this again. I will deflask directly into bark like I do. That's typical, and then I'll take those and mount it. But I do have some behind my shed. I have a lot of them. They don't look very good. I don't know what the final survival rate is going to be, and this is one of my best ones. But I have these behind my shed, and they're growing, and they're on small pieces of cedar, and they're doing okay, and they may survive, but it's something that I don't recommend for anyone else to be done. Again, I think that the survival rate is much higher in bark. And it's without doubt, and I just tried this as an experiment, and you know, you do have failed experiments. All right, so the other things that I want to show you is I mount them on cedar boards. This is one that I mounted. Actually, I got another one of these. So these I mounted on, this is the petiole from my date palm. So these also are doing pretty well. They, they're growing. The roots are growing in the front of this pretty well. On both of these plants, they grow around the back. I drill holes in the petiole, so they just grow really well on anything you're going to put them on. These are plants that are from that same first batch, and they're doing well. Here's another one that's doing pretty. I got a lot of these, and what happens is they grow well. I drill holes in the board, and as you can see, the roots grow through. They grow on the surface of the board in the front, and they grow through the holes and into the back, through the back of the board, and then on that. So they'll completely envelop the board with their roots. Some of the other ones. So here's another board, and this is one that is actually, so the front right here, the back, you can see the roots growing through the back of the board. And actually I'm looking here, and the roots actually are growing through the hole that I put, that I use to mount, that the wire goes through. So they're growing through there. But the nice thing about this plant is that it is, I don't know if you can see right here, that's a spike right here. So this is a spike that's growing out. So on this plant, it looks like there's just one of these. Now what I'm going to do, and the reason I did this with a lot of the plants that are destined to be planted in the park, is I'm just going to be able to mount this piece of wood directly on a tree in the park. So that's the intent for that. Let me see. Oh, and then I have some that I've also just planted in pots. So right here, this is again from the first batch that I grew from seed, and if you take a look at it, there is, I'm trying to count here, there's 1, 2, 3, 4 spikes coming out on this, but this is a big one. This is one of my most vigorous plants, and it's pretty big. So this has 4 spikes coming out on this, but that's in a pot. The other thing that I wanted to show you for fun, and I had a lot of comments about this, but this is mounted on a piece of bamboo. So right here, so I have 3 plants, and this is something that a colleague showed me how to do. Drilled holes through the bamboo, and the roots, if you can tell, are growing through the bamboo, but the plants are also doing pretty well. So I put 3 on here. That's what I was shown how to do. I put 3 plants on here, and the thing is about this, so here's 2, there's a spike here that's got even a larger bulb, and then another spike right here that has a few flowers coming up on it too. But these plants are doing, I mean, they're doing really well. And again, I did this because I like to experiment and try different things, but I also I needed to do something with all of the tampensis plants that I have, and this was an easy thing to do. And then again, when I transfer these to the park, I can just put them, I can mount these woods, I can mount them directly in the trees in the park, and then the wood is just going to degrade eventually, and these plants are going to grab on. I got one more plant I want to show, oh, it's over here. Got one more plant I want to show you, and this is not one that I grew from seeds. So this is a this is a large, I mean, these things, just so you know, I was going to say this is a big plant, but Encyclia tampensis can get big. I've seen plants. I have a plant down the street, a native plant down the street from me that is just huge, that is maybe 2 feet across, and this is actually a piece of a native orchid that a friend that lives in my area had on her pine tree, and the pine tree was up against the house, leaning against the house, uprooting the foundation. So they had to take the pine tree out, and they gave me the plant that was still that was on that pine tree, and I potted them up, and this is good, because what I try to do before I introduce plants into these into these natural systems is get as much diversity as I can. So this is a different plant, different source plant from all of these other plants. So I have a few different sources, and the nice thing about this is that I can self this plant, get more capsule, and again increase the diversity of the tampensis populations that I'm reintroducing into the local parks. All right, so this is a large plant, and I'm counting just 4 spikes on this, but this is probably the largest flowers that I have at this point. They'll get big. It's going to take a little while. I'm thinking I'll be able to show you open flowers in a while, but for right now, I just wanted to share this with you because the Encyclia tampensis are coming, and a lot of my plants are in spike. Even the seedlings that I have, seedling right there, seedling behind me, even the seedlings are in spike, so it's pretty exciting for me. All right, so, and I've got other plants in spike too, and I'll share with you, but I wanted to have an Encyclia tampensis centered video, and I'll have at least one more, maybe more, because I have so many of these plants coming, because it's a native, again, that I'm allowed to reintroduce into various situations, and it grows so well here. I've got them mounted on trees in my yard. I've got and this is just a small amount of the plants that I have, but hopefully hopefully I'll be able to put them out and put them back into nature, and they'll do well. All right, so that's all I have for today. I hope you enjoyed my video. If you enjoyed it and you want to help me to keep the videos coming to you, it would help me out if you can click on like, share, and subscribe to my channel if you're not already a subscriber. Okay, wow, it's getting warm, and it's 9:25 in the morning, so it's going to be a good day for orchid growing. All right, that's all I have for today. Again, I hope you enjoyed my video, and happy propagating.